Good morning, Facebook Live.
Good morning, everyone.
I got a new face in the studio today.
Yes, sir, you do.
We have got the professor with us. Professor, tell him why we call you the professor.
Well, I think it originated that I have my master's degree, but that doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But my initials are DR,
Yep.
So I have.
He has a PhD in mitigation.
That is correct.
That's what we're going to tell people. You have a PhD in mitigation. He can take care of any problems you have. Been
That's
on
right.
call this week, too, so you
Yes.
had to take care of a lot
I'm
of
running
those.
off about an hour of sleep. It was a busy night, but, we'll get this done.
He's filling in for Annika Patrick today. Annika is out helping to service and do some things out in some of our other franchises out in Texas. Our team has been running around crazy trying to get all that stuff running and getting up to speed, and they're doing a fantastic job. And Annika, if you keep missing and his interview goes good today, he may take your spot permanently. I'm just saying. I don't know for sure, but he could take it.
We'll try a few other faces, see what works. But, yeah, Anna's going to be out in the Frisco and then the Katy part of Houston out there. So hopefully she's doing a good job out there, doing her job. And, we'll just fill in for her.
Anna does good wherever she's at. Hey, guys, so today's going to be a little different. Last week, we had fun. We cut up. For the record, I got hit with a pie in the face. We've gone back and counted. I said that I won that thing 6-5. I actually won it 7-5.
That's right. You were cheated big time.
We have gone back, checked the stats, and it is official. I won. Anna, there's something special coming for you. But that was fun last week. This week's going to be a little bit different. We're going to do a little more in remembrance this week. As you guys know, this April 27th, 2011
Correct.
was a historic event in the state of Alabama.
Yeah, I wasn't even here, and I knew about it.
Yeah.
It was huge news.
Yeah, it's one of those events where, kind of like September 11th, when something like that happens, you remember where you are. If it affected you and you were in the area, I'll never forget where I was at. That was the day of the massive super tornado outbreak. We had tornadoes coming left and right, and then, of course, the massive tornado that worked its way through Tuscaloosa as everybody pretty much watched in horror. You can see it on the screen.
Yeah, and
everybody
worked its
watched
way through
this.
the Birmingham area. I mean, it was massive.
Yeah.
I still have customers that I go see that still talk about how this storm hit and how it dropped down in Tuscaloosa, and they weren't sure if their family members were alive or not. It was a very scary time.
It definitely was a scary time. I remember standing on top of our building downtown. I worked downtown at the time, and I was standing on top of our building watching this same storm as the tornado moved through Fairfield.
Yeah.
And you could see it. And so that's when I told my guys, everybody get home. Rushed home, got home just in time to see some of this footage on the news with my family. And so, of course, everybody started taking shelter because it wasn't just this tornado.
Right.
That day, there were tornadoes dropping
everywhere.
I mean, they were literally dropping all over the place, and you didn't know. 1 minute you could be completely fine, and the next minute there was one dropping down on top of you.
Well, and you may not know this about me, Brandon, but I'm originally from the Midwest, which is like Tornado Alley, known for some very large tornadoes. And we moved to Alabama, when I was probably around 10 or 11, and people talk about hurricanes, but I'll take my chances with a hurricane any day over being close to a tornado.
Yeah,
they're a scary sight.
Absolutely devastating. In fact, so this year, was looking at some stats earlier before we got live. There were, as of this year alone, there have been over 1,000 tornado warnings that have been issued in the United States.
That's a lot.
Of those 1,000, 115 of those are from the state of Alabama. Right now, the state of Alabama has more tornado warnings as of January 1st than any other state in the country.
Yeah, and our first storm cell that came through early April had 19 that touched down just in that one storm cell.
That's scary. Also, of the 1,000 tornado warnings that have been issued in the United States this year, 400 and something of them have already produced touchdown tornadoes.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So this is a really active year. You got a lot happening storm-wise. And then when you think back to what happened that day 11 years ago, it really brings into perspective, guys, be safe. You gotta be taking care of yourself. You gotta be taking care of your family, and some of that starts with having a plan.
Do you have your plan set, ready to go?
I'll say this, we do, because luckily my wife is I don't want to say she's over the top about storms, but I think secretly in another life she wanted to be a meteorologist. because the thought of bad weather, she is watching every news station. She's got James Spann on there. I'm pretty sure she's gonna walk out in overalls like James Spann at one time and tell me when the tornadoes are coming. She's got helmets in closets. She's one of these that tells you to put your shoes on in case. Yeah, so we have a plan. Do you guys have a plan in place?
We do have a plan, and probably like you said, my wife takes the over precaution. So as soon as something's going to be near us, she's already getting to our safe place going. And I'm not as quick to go, but I kind of wait out to see kind of what's happening. Just like that storm that hit near us, we live in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
That one hit in Chelsea, and she went immediately to our safe place. So. Got to have your alerts on, very important. Make sure that you're keeping up with the weather that's going on in the area. Make sure you're aware of what's going on for sure.
Guys, have a storm radio. I mean, a weather radio makes all the difference in the
does.
world. I know that thing goes off in the middle of the night. It scare you, but if you've got a weather radio, look, there's just a few things you can do to be ready. Have a weather radio. Listen, people are getting to where they're better at this. These meteorologists now at least they can give you 2 to 3 days where they're telling you, hey, Thursday, we've got a really bad chance for outbreaks. We have this, we have that. Be weather aware. Pay attention to that stuff. Don't just disregard it. Check that stuff out. Go get your weather radio. Have a plan in place with your family. Everybody in your family needs to know what that plan is. Kids need to know if something happens in the middle of the night, where do we meet in the house?
Yeah.
If for some reason you go to that point in the house and no one else is there, what do? Everybody needs a plan, and being prepared, which is kind of our business, is crucial in situations like that.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but I kind of joke about it a lot. Is like when we talk about the weather, sometimes in our meetings in the mornings, that if they're talking about it on the news, that it's probably not going to be as bad as they talk about. It tends to be the ones that they're not talking about too much that you really need to be worried about.
Yeah.
But don't take any of these storms lightly. Be prepared. Be ready to go to your safe place if a storm touches down, tornado touches down, because they're not fun.
Yeah, I mean, I was on call. Was it last year when the tornado come through?
That one, the one that went through Eagle Point.
Yeah, came through Eagle Point, and just the number of phone calls coming in that night from people who were just devastated. My house is in shambles. I don't know what to do. I don't have a roof. And in those situations, guys, we can help you there. First and foremost, I need to be able, I want to pray for those people.
Absolutely.
Like, honestly, you get those phone calls come in those nights, and sometimes, like at one point that night, I just put the phone down and just said a prayer, because the number of people that stuff's affecting is unbelievable, and they don't know what the next steps are. Hey, my roof is gone, and I've got water pouring into the house. What do I do? And in situations like that where it's so large scale, there's not a lot you can do tonight. Do you have a safe place you can go?
Yeah, a neighbor's house, a family member's
go
house.
Go to
somewhere
someone's
you can
house.
just get temporarily till things can get sorted out. Because I know for us, when we went out the next day, it was difficult for us as
First
responders, people in the industry, to get into some of those areas.
Yeah, and a lot of times they won't open those areas up till certain times. The main thing in those situations is be safe. Don't put yourself in a bad situation trying to do something you shouldn't do. Just get somewhere safe, ride it out. Help is coming once you get to that point. And then once all that gets there, we can come in, we can help you with, hey, we need to get people out here to tarp this roof. We need to start getting in touch with your insurance people. We'll help guide you through some of this.
Yep.
But the important thing is that you find somewhere and get safe.
Yeah, and there's a couple families that called me directly, and you help comfort them in any way that you can. I know me and you went out to the same house the roof was completely gone. We tried to help get them tarped up. We ended the next set of storms that came through actually ripped the tarp off.
Yep.
And by the time I got back out there, the house was destroyed. I think they ended up tearing it back, down to the studs and starting over. But there's only so much you can do. But we, help them pack up their items, get as much out salvageable as we can, and then we can help move them back in when they have somewhere to move it back into. So there's only so much that we can do. It's very unfortunate. Definitely pray for those people when it happens. Just like the storm that came through Chelsea recently. A few people lost their houses and roofs in that storm.
Yep. So what we'll do, guys, is we're gonna leave you with this. Help neighbors any way you can. All right, these storms are no joke. Be looking into ways you can be helpful to your neighbor. Don't just work out plans with your family. Work it out with your neighbors. Let them know if something ever happens, I'm here for you guys. You be here for me. And I think that's the best thing we can do in these situations. Like I said, we're not going to have a big drawn-out show today. We just wanted to kind of come on here, touch base, remember what happened on that day 11 years ago. And if you need anything from us, we're always here,
Right.
and we'll be here for the phone calls. But just make yourself weather aware. And this is all just a preparedness show today to help you
Just
remember
make sure
what
that
can
your
happen.
plan's in place
Yeah.
for when things do happen. 'Cause
Absolutely.
They will.
Hey, and by the way, do learn some CPR. Go
Yes.
take a class.
Are you certified?
I am certified,
Me too.
actually. So if you go get certified to do CPR, you never know when something like that could come in handy in these situations.
Absolutely.
So that, by the way, that was Chelsea that come up with that. It's a
That
great
was awesome.
point.
Great job, Chelsea.
Good job, Chelsea. All right, guys. Well, as always, if you need us, you know that we're always here, and we're always here to help.
Call us Birmingham.